So as I said before, we have three stages: the learning, the findings, and the themes and the insights. Now your learning stage is basically the first stage. This is where you just put down all the information you've gotten from your surveys and from your interviews. So you're supposed to get like cues from the people's behavior, like what do they say about this particular question I've asked them? How do they feel about it? Um, do they are there any cues or anything, or can I get anything from the way this person behaved when I ask this particular question? We have to get the strategies, practices, and tactics. Ask them questions that would really define and we can work with to create what the particular app we're trying to create. So now, after we've gotten our learnings and findings, which is just basically like scattered data, we do have to find out what themes we have. You have to find out themes. Now, basically, your themes are organized data from what you've gotten from your learnings. You probably don't know what affinity mapping is. I'll put a picture on my slides, but I didn't. So basically, if you Google affinity mapping, the first thing you see are pages with um, post-it notes, basically. So you organize the data on post-it notes. So just like a board with so much writing, and then you organize the data into post-it notes so that you can get um, items with similar categories and put them together. So basically, you're clustering the data that have together. You can do this. You should do this immediately after you do your surveys, because then your details are going to be fresh in your head, and you'll be able to put them down and make sure that you have a better experience. Next up is the insights. The insights are combinations of your observations and your knowledge. So yes, your insights is probably going to be is basically what your where your problem statement is coming from. What is the thing I'm trying to solve, and how do I go about it? Now the insight has two parts, two things that make up the insights. We have the I saw, I know this, and then you get your insights. I saw is basically the data you've gathered throughout your research, the interviews, your guided experience, basically all the interactions you've had with possible users of your app. So you know you've seen what they've said, and that is how you've gotten the data. Then I know this is basically how you relate with that experience. So it's now like, okay, I know that I have an example. I'm trying to, okay. So now I know that a doctor will always empathize with with their patients to build trust. That is a thing that doctors do. Now we know that we know that bankers struggle with connecting with their customers when you're dealing with problems. So what can a banker learn from the doctor? If the doctor gets if the banker, sorry, empathizing with their customers better, then they'll be able to build better relationships. The same way the doctor is able to build better relationships with the with their patients. So the doctor and the patient is basically an example of you seeing this. This is something that you've seen. Now you know that the bankers and their customers don't exactly see eye to eye because of their problems. The bankers do not have that empathizing nature of the doctors. But now putting those two things together, you'll be able to find a solution by making the bankers try to learn to empathize with their customers, and as a result, you've gotten insights. Now, from that insight, you find a clear, deep, meaningful perception into their behavior and understand them. That will help your listener or help your customer as a banker, for example, to find the solutions to their problem with less stress. Now, your insight is the moment when you take meaning from the data you've collected. So your insight is basically you answering the question, what is the problem and how am I finding the solution? So your insight answers that question of the what. What is the solution to the problem that I have right now? So one next, you found out you've gone through your learnings, you've gone through your themes, and now the last stage is your insights. You've already gotten your insights. So how do we go about finding your insights. We have this slide. Basically, what we're talking about here is organizing all the data we've gotten. We've already established that throughout synthesis, we go through the learnings and the findings, we go through the themes, and we get our insights. So after synthesizing our data, how do we present it? How do we show what we've worked on? So now this is the study details for the app that we're going to be working on throughout the course of this course. So first off, we have to put out our study details. How do we organize that? Study details, first off, is our project background. This is just a simple description of the problem we're trying to solve. So for us as tutors, we're going to create a simple pizza delivery app to help user orders their pizza with ease and less cognitive hassle. We want to find out if ordering and delivering the pizza is easy to complete. We want to know this. That's the first step we took. And so with this, we conducted a survey of 16 participants, male and females, and who have filled this form are between the ages of 18 and 24. So during the research, we asked them questions like, what's your name, your age, are you a pizza lover, do you have a favorite pizza place, how often do you order pizza, have you ordered pizza with an app, if no, why, what apps do you use to order pizza, what motivates you the most to order, on a scale of 1 to 5, how easy was it to use the app, what do you look for the most in a pizza delivery app and why, would you find a language translation feature helpful? And what other features would you like to see on the app? If you were in the last class, I got most of these questions from the questions that Latifa put on the on her slides. So basically, I listed those questions and I conducted a survey and I got answers from different people. So the reason why we ask these insightful questions is so that we can get to know what the user really thinks and to know how they feel about a particular problem, and then we'll be able to understand them better. It's always wrong to assume that you know what the user would say, or assume that you know the solution to their problems when you've not heard from them, because finding out from the user will help you know what problems have been solved and what problems are left for you to solve. So this basically is survey data. These are just pictures from the survey data. We have this question, for example, what motivates you the most to order? And you can see that some people had different, some people that said either deals, free deliveries, or freebies. People want things that are free. That's a thing to pick out from your survey data. What other features would you like to see on the app? Most people wanted voice assistance. Some people wanted to be able to track their pizza. They wanted live updates. Also, what do you look for the most in an app? Most people mentioned being easy to use and fast delivery. The app should be easy to navigate, which is what user experience is all about. And most people did not really agree with the language translation feature. So this is an important part of using a survey for when you're trying to design trying to create an app. The surveys will help you know what features you've already put in your mind are supposed to be essential and know whether to let them go or not. So now that is all for this particular part. Now for the language translation feature, most people disagreed with the use of a language translation feature. And since people are going to use the app are the users, so we have to go with whatever they decide. So now, based on the app, we have our learnings, our findings, the things and the insights. The learnings and findings, we know that from what they've said, the users want an app that is easy to use. They want something that is easy to navigate with fast delivery time. Users are more inclined to order when they have deals, because it was a very important factor in the motivation and decision making process. They really wanted to order when they have more deals. Um, Users already have some apps they're using. In other parts of the user research, when we ask what other apps do you use to order, most people mentioned Domino's. Most people mentioned Dodo Pizza. Some people mentioned Jumia Food. These are apps that you probably use for computer analysis. which we will get to later. Most users also wanted to know what where their food was at a particular time. So they wanted real-time order status updates. They wanted to know where their food is at a particular time. And yes, as one of the things we've already mentioned, most people disagree with the language translation feature, which is why we'll be removing it from the concept of creating this app. Now the themes. Based on this, we could find two themes, two major themes. Here we're just focus. Your themes can be more than this. They can be a lot more, but we're focusing on just two today, which are their pain points and their motivations. Pain points are basically the frustrations that the user goes through when they're using an app. So now, if the app is difficult to navigate, which is what everybody disagreed with when they're filling out the survey, we know that that's a pain point, that's a frustration from them. We can deduce that from the findings we've gotten. We also know that late delivery is a huge no. Most people don't want their food to become late. They want their food to come on time and they want to know where it is at a particular time. So motivations, what makes your user happy? What are the things that affirm their goals when they want to use your app? Some of the motivations were the real-time status updates. They want to know, okay, I just ordered now. Where's my food at this particular time? Are you making it already? What else are you doing? When is he leaving the shop? When is he coming to me? Have you given it to the courier service? They want to know all those things. Fast delivery without delays. Yes, they want their food to become on time. They want you to give them a time range with which their food is going to be taken from the store and delivered to them. They also want to they also want incentives. They want you to give them deals. So this can be either like free delivery or you give them freebies. We know that there are plenty times when what do you call it, apps like um businesses like Domino's or Dodo Pizza have like their vouchers and discount deals, discount coupons where people can just save money by buying at that particular time. Most people tend to order that time because they are motivated by the fact that they have deals on the app. Steps to order should be easy. We've already established that nobody wants to navigate a difficult app. If your app is too difficult to navigate, your user is inclined will just want to leave the app. You wouldn't want to continue with the entire process. So your steps should be easy with a easy very easy steps to just leave the app to get their food where they want it to be. And customization. Yeah, this wasn't really mentioned a lot in the survey, but most people mentioned it. Customization basically, some people can be allergic to a particular type of food and or a particular thing, and they want to make sure that whatever they order from you is free from that. So having a customization feature will help your user to differentiate or to what they call it, to adjust the ingredients of the particular meal that he's ordering so that he can get maximum customer satisfaction. And so insights here from here we basically took the um from the themes what were the pressing points that we could convert into features and solve the problems for the users. And then we came up with live updates so that the users can track their orders from the store from when it's delivered to their doorstep. Then we make sure that the app design we'll be creating will be simple, easy to navigate, and it will enhance user experience. Then we also put the idea of rewards, discount coupons and rewards attract more customers, and that is definitely a yes because it also affects and helps the business to grow. And customization would either come in a history feature or a customization feature so that the user can order either the past orders they've already or past orders, or they can remove or add ingredients from their orders. And that brings us to computer analysis. I know I mentioned it here that users have some apps they already use, and that's necessary for computer analysis here, right here. So now, what is computer analysis? Computer analysis is basically you're creating a new app and you know that okay, this is what I want to go ahead with. But you have to find out what makes me different from the rest. What is the key thing that separates me from my counterparts? Why will people choose my business over another person's? What's the reason why? Which is basically what computer analysis is. So your features that you possibly want to have on your app, you have to consider what do these apps have in common? How can I be the better app and how can I help people to solve their problems? Why would they choose me over others? So now we went to two computers. We use the Dodo Pizza and the Domino's app to for our computer analysis. They're one of the two of the apps that the users mentioned frequently during the surveys. Now the first thing we looked at is the item search. Now we all know that once we go to any website to order food, the first thing we do will most likely be to check on the search button to search for what we want. That is a very important feature. And so we checked for on both these apps and we found out that they both have the item search. Next is custom order. Most apps, most the Domino's app and the Dodo Pizza app have the custom orders so that people can customize or also have like history so that they can check their past orders and they can order again. Free deliveries, most both apps they don't have that feature. They don't have they don't have features for vouchers or coupons. And so that was a different that was something different that these apps didn't have. Hello? Also, item ratings. Most people who have never used the app at first will want to know um what is the most popular product people want to order on this app and how can I order it. So that is something for item ratings. It's usually great for first time users so they'll know what is like the probably the best deal they can get and then they would probably want to order that. Custom quantity. Some people might not want a particular size of pizza. They might want really want to get a small, medium, and large. So the custom quantity would help to make sure that they get the particular size they want for that particular product. And scheduled delivery. Only the Dodo Pizza app has this feature where you order.
Sorry, Fumi, please, can you unmute yourself? I just accidentally muted you now. Please, can you unmute yourself for me?
So I stopped at scheduled delivery. So the Dodo Pizza is the only one that has this feature where you can schedule a time to come to for your food to be delivered to you. This is very helpful if you are far away and you don't want your food to get home before you, or you just want to make sure that at a certain time when you get home, your food is going to be there. So that is what the scheduled delivery is for. It's a very great feature because most people might not be will not be how do I put it? They're not free at a particular time and probably remember, oh, I'm going to get home by this time. And so if I order now, probably in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it's going to be at my house. So I already have like a schedule and that works with it. I wouldn't have to bother about coming back home and not finding anything to eat and start ordering all over again. So it makes your life easier on that respect. I also another thing I didn't add here, they both have features for online payments, which is also an essential feature when you're trying to pay for an app. If the ease of paying for your food, if it's easier, your users will also want to most likely use your app. So now from here we go to the empathy maps. What are empathy maps? Empathy maps are tools that we use when collecting data so that we can un- understand our customer base. They're just like user personas, but they visualize the customer needs and condense customer data into a brief chart to help you consider what your customer wants and not what you think they want. As I said before, we want to make sure that the customers get what they want. not what us as the, what not what us the designer think they want. So we'll be going to the first empathy to the empathy map that we created from the data we've gotten here. So now the empathy map basically tells us four things about the user. There are different kind of empathy maps I would like to mention. Some of them have the pain and the gain, basically the user's motivations and frustrations. But when creating these slides, I used only the four parts, which is basically what the user says, what they think, what they do, and what they see. Thinking also goes with feelings, so basically what they feel too can also be there. So basically, what you do with your empathy map is to try to condense all the data you've gotten from different from your learnings and findings and from your themes and condense it into these different emotions to see how best you can represent them. So now, user says, "Where are you now?" They're probably asking that question to the courier service. "Please come fast. I want to pay online." Probably to the customer care. "How do I do that?" All those questions are probably things your user will say during your interview, or what you can infer from the data that you've gotten from them. What they do, the customer would probably like to, as mentioned before, like to check the ratings of the food to see what do people like to order on this app and should I order it or not. That is one thing you can check. Your customer also like to know where their food is at. As they mentioned, they want live updates on their food, so definitely they will check their delivery status. Okay, how much longer till I get my food? Customized orders, that's another thing your customer can do. When you use the app, they would probably adjust the ingredients to what they prefer, and then they can order whatever they want. And usually, and most likely, they'll pay online. This is another thing that they do. Now, what they think. We when sending out the survey, we ask the question like, do you think that a certain thing can motivate you to order, or would you just order, or have you decided already what you want to eat? And most people would ask that question in their mind: what am I going to eat today? What should I eat? If I'm ordering, how many people are ordering with me? Should I order for a large number of people, or should I order for just me? So it depends what your customer is thinking. What deals can I get on this on my phone right now? If I order for example, we're five people in a room and I really want to order pizza, and I'm convincing every other person that they should order with me, what possible deals like it if I order for five and I don't just order for one? It might be possible that the app probably has a deal for that day and that says, oh, order two large pizzas or order one large pizza and a medium pizza, and you're probably going to get like a 30% off. So that deal will motivate your user to order. Is one of the things that they think about how to save money. Now, what they see on the app. Um, there's also the people who are vegan and the non-vegetarians too. So do they have those options? Do they have the options to choose whatever whatever they want? Does he have meat? Would this taste nice? All those kind of questions. But they see the what they call it, what is set apart. Are they vegetarians or are they non-vegetarians? Those are things that they would notice from the ingredients that you put on every meal on your app. If there's special offers too, the buy one get one free or something, get a free drink, they would obviously see that on your app too. Your delivery time that is also indicated on the app is another thing that they would also see on your app. So basically, your empathy map is just to express what the user thinks, what they say, what they see, and what they do on a chart, so that it's easier to work with your solving the problems that your user has at a particular time. Now, these things are not usually abstract. Sometimes they're very related. So we can use that. For example, what they do and what they see, what they say is very related, as you can see from the examples. Which brings us to user personas. User personas are fictional users whose goals and characteristics represent the needs of a larger group of users. Now it doesn't have to be as I said before, fictional users. These are imaginary people that we've created based on the persona that we have, based on the survey that we have done. Each persona creates if each persona create and represents a group of people with similar characteristics that we've learned about during the research. They are key to design process because they reflect the lifestyle of users and give the team an idea of how to meet the user's needs or challenges. So from your user research, you identify common pain points, which we've already done from our insights, and then we can from our themes rather, and we can see the issues that frustrate and stop the user from getting what they need from a particular product. So from the common themes in our data, we can use that to group the users and find the personas that we would probably be working with. So right today, most times when you're creating your apps, it's always helpful to have at least two personas, but not more than three. Making too many personas do not guarantee that your users' needs um are going to be accounted for. So it's best to go with the minimum of two and a maximum of three, not too many personas, so that you actually solve the problem for your target audience. So today we have two personas we'll be working with. This is basically a simple format for a persona. There's so many different ones you can find online and you can probably read more about. But this is basically a basic persona for a user. Persona contains their age, their occupation, their location, their education. Those are the things that should help you know what kind of person this person is. For example, now we have Jane. She's 19, she's a student and she's an undergraduate. From her bio, we know that Jane is a 300 level student and she spends most of her time in classes, the library or her hostel, and she likes to order pizza to save her the stress of cooking. And we know that she's a student, she already has time to do cooking and all that. So she orders pizza to save her stress. Now her motivations are she wants her food to get there fast. She wants to easily navigate through the app, and she wants to find fast orders easily and special offers if there are any. Now her pain points would probably be late delivery. She doesn't want her food to get there late because one of her motivations is getting her food quickly. So that is the solution. That is a problem we've already seen that she has, and we should find a way to solve the problem. Easy to navigate. The app should be easy to navigate from what we see in her motivations. So if the app is time consuming, we know that that's already a turn off. She won't want to order if our app is time consuming. From finding past orders easily, which is a motivation for her. If she cannot find previous orders, it's also going to be a pain point. If she also doesn't find special offers on her on or deals, it will really motivate her to buy or to
Checking up
order
for
from a
me.
particular site.
I've not been going for this thing, but they're just
Now
checking
we'll
up
be
for me.
going to the second
All
user
right.
persona,
I have plenty
which
right.
is John. John is a
That's so
designer
nice.
that spends
Right.
most of his time on a desk, and he rarely has time to cook any meals, so he orders
Rice
food
and
most of the time.
indomie.
So most of the time he um he has a specific diet, so sometimes he customizes most times he
And it's
customizes
not
his
because of the
orders.
food that will cook, but
So
I've been
now
planning.
we know that John is 23. um he's a designer. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can.
So we know John is 23, he's a designer. We know that he's a graduate. We know that he spends most of his time on desk. He's always working. So he doesn't have time to order. And we know that he has a specific diet. So his orders are usually customized. Now, John has almost the same motivations as Jane, but he really wants his orders. He wants to know where his food is at a particular time. He wants to make sure that you work with that. He also has customized orders as one of his motivations. Has a specific diet, so basically you have to make sure that you cater to that. He also doesn't like late deliveries. He doesn't want an app that is difficult for him to use, and he wants to be able to find his fast orders. and he wants there to be update on his food. He wants to know where his food is at a particular time. Based on this, we've already drawn out main points that we would need to cater for when we are creating the app. So for the proposed app features that we'll be working on, we would have stuff like the search filters. We mentioned before, one of the first things that we saw in the computer analysis with Domino's and Dodo Pizza is that they have the search filter that helps your users find the items easily. It's one of the must-haves features that you must have on your app if you're creating a pizza app the way we are doing so. Ingredient adjustments. It basically caters to one of John's needs. He has a specific diet, and so adding or removing particular ingredients from the pizza he's going to order is going to help a lot because he also always customizes his order. Then we have the order tracking. Most users wanted um John also wanted his orders to have a live update on his orders to know when they are going to get to him. Want to know when the pizza is leaving the store and when it's getting to the users, getting to the clients rather, and where they finally get their food. Order history. We know that it's not easy to go to a particular app and repeat the same process all over and all over again. So basically, your order history basically saves what you've ordered before, what you possibly ordered, and you can do that in a few with a few clicks. For example, I know that most people here have used the Bolt app. Probably know how the Bolt app works. So once you take a ride from a particular destination, it saves on your history. So if you want to go from a particular place to a destination of your choice again, and you've gone to that place before, you don't have to go through searching through the app again. All you have to do is just probably check your history. Okay, I've been here and I know that this particular location is where I'm going to again. So I can just click on that and then I would be able to find drivers in my area. Or you've gone to a particular place and you've probably forgotten what you ordered at that sorry, you've probably forgotten where you wanted to go to at that particular point, but you know that you used that app to get there. That would help you also to find your location, which is basically what order history would help to do here. If John has ordered a particular customized pizza from your app, this would help your order history will help you so that help him to repeat his orders in a few clicks. It's going to be very easy for him to do. And online payments, yes, is a very important feature. Most people want to pay for their food and their delivery and get it to them as fast as possible. So that's what online payments basically does. But even though your users have your search screen and they have the what they call it and they have your search or your filter buttons and they have your order history, it's also essential to have your menu screens. This is very good for first time users. This Your menu screen will have clear descriptions of your dishes, your and high quality photos that actually show what you make in your if you had a pizza store, for example. So that would help your user to make a clear decision of what they want and know exactly what is going into their pizza. Then you can also just include the loyalty programs, which can be your discounts, bonuses, promo codes, stuff like that to always make people want to order from your store. So that's a great way to to make users continue using your apps. Now, the proposed app features are just the features we put down for our app. We're not sure that all of these features will be the ideal features yet, but these are the things we have in mind when we're trying to create the app. So first off, we'll be going through the user journey map. I don't know why this went that way. Sorry. I'm trying to get a particular slide. Let me try to play it. So we'll be going to the user flow. User flows are basically diagrams that display the complete path the user takes when taking a product, when using a product rather. So the user flows basically predicts the user's movement through the product from each step they take, from the entry point to the final interaction. So depicting this process helps the users to evaluate and optimize the user experience. Each touch point is on the user journey is represented by a node on the flow chart, and these nodes are characterized by shape, and each shape indicates a particular process. For example, the diamond here represents decision, and there are yes or no arrows, which probably where the user finally decides, should I do this or should I not do that? And the rectangle indicates a task, or in this case, a display button, while the circle represents actions that need to be taken. So now we'll be going to the user flow. Sorry, the slides just prototype them, but that didn't work out. So first off, the onboarding experience, basically what you see when you open a particular app. You probably see the splash screen before the information, before you can see the details on the app. So basically that's what the onboarding is. Then you can decide to log in or sign up, and then it takes you to the home screen. So when you get to your home screen, you can either search or just choose a particular pizza from the menu screens that you have there. Then after choosing your pizza, you go to adjusting the ingredients on your pizza, and then you can add it to your basket. It's now like, should I order more or not? You have that decision to make. And then from your, if you decide that okay, I'm done buying, then from there you go to your cart. From your cart, you go to your online checkout site, so you can pay for your stuff online, for your food online. After paying, obviously your app is going to show you that your food is going to be being delivered to you at a particular time. And then you can also use the tracking feature, so that your user so that you know when your food leaves the store and when it gets to you. So the final step is here, achieving the user goals, where you receive your food. And then we'll be going to the user journey, which is also a very important feature, an important step rather, when you're creating your app. Your user journey basically visualizes the user's relationship with the products over time and across different channels. Now, your user journey map can come in different formats. It's usually represented as a timeline of touch points between a user and a product. The timeline contains information about all the channels that the users use to interact with a particular product. So the user journey map is basically a representation of the user's relationship with your product. Now we'll go to the different stages of your user journey map to see how can you create your own user journey map. So first off, we're using John as for our user journey map. John, we know that he's a designer and he really has time to cook his meals. Now there are 5 stages when when you're using your user journey map. Your first stage is awareness, then consideration, then acquisition, then service, then loyalty. Awareness is just basically, how do people come to know that this is the app I have and this is the app I'm going to use? How do people know about this app? How will they find out? They can find out in different ways. It may probably be from a friend, which is basically word of mouth, from social media, or advertisements by the company. That's basically how people know that okay, this particular product exists and I can use it. Now there's the consideration phase. where your user considers, what do I do with this app? Acquisition is basically getting something, probably buying from you or going through a particular service. That's basically what the acquisition stage has to offer. Then your service, probably ordering your pizza from the site before it gets to you. And then loyalty. How do I make sure that my users come back to use my app after they've used it once? What makes them come back? So that's basically what it is. Now, for this particular example, we already went through and we already have our own user journey map that explains that we want to see that basically our flow of how our user interacts with our product or how we want our user to interact with our product. So we have this. We have the awareness, we have the consideration, we have acquisition, we have service, and we have loyalty. Now, awareness stage is where they hear from their friends or see online or offline ads about the particular products and how them where they make the decision of, okay, should I use this app or not. Then the consideration stage, we already know that from our computer analysis we've seen and survey we've seen that there are so many apps that have this particular feature. So how do we compare and evaluate? So that's basically what the consideration stage is. This is when the user decides that, okay, what sets your app apart from the rest of the other apps? From the other apps, what sets you apart? Why should I use you? So basically here they are comparing and evaluating their different alternatives at this particular point. Then it comes to the acquisition. This is where the user finally decides that they want to use your app and they decide to go through with it. So different things they can do during their acquisition is choosing a pizza, they customize their order, they probably pay online and they start tracking their order. Now you finally giving them a service when they receive their order, and loyalty comes in where they set to order again or they decide to share their experience again with another person. Oh, I ordered this particular I ordered pizza from this app today and it was great. It was hassle free, it was pretty easy to use. I think you would like to use them too. So that also helps with your user experience. It also helps your business to grow too if you're designing for a particular product. Now, as you can see, the customer journey is a, I would not say like a graph, but it's more like a timeline that probably represents different emotions. Obviously, if it's going down, you know that probably the user is not very happy about the particular prospect. If it's flat, that means the user has no emotions at a particular time. If it's going up, you know that they're probably being satisfied, and that is the reason why their emotions are going up. They are probably very happy with using your app. So basically, your goal when creating an app is to make sure that your touch points would always be high, so your users are satisfied with using your app. So we've already gone through the five different stages. When you're creating your own apps, so you would also see you could go online to check for different customer um journey apps to see what exactly what exactly should my product have or should my app have that will make people to come back to come and use it once again. That is basically it for the user journey maps. So now the next thing we'll be going to is basically the second half or the end of this particular um, class, which is the information architecture. Now, I did not put more data on my slides about this, but I'll be updating them to send it to you by tomorrow so you can have more information. So I'll basically just be talking about the rest of information architecture and then I would explain a bit about it and you can see how we can um, also organize or make sure that we organize our information using information architecture. So information architecture is basically organizing and structuring a website or a mobile application or a web app or a social media software. So information architecture would help to organize content so that the users can easily adjust to the functionality of the products and they could find everything they need without searching too much. So, an example, information architecture, how does that help? When you go on a page or on an app and the first thing you see is probably you see the landing page, or for example for a website is a landing page, for an app is probably the splash screen before you see the home screen. Your information architecture helps you to organize your data so that you do not find so that when the users come to use your app, they do not become lost. It solves the problem of people not continuing to use your app over time. So are your features are basically put together in a way that your user would easily adjust to them and they will probably come back to use it without stressing too much. So first thing first, when we're considering information architecture, is the target audience. From the survey we've done, we found out that our target audience are basically between the ages of 18 and 24, and we know that these people are internet savvy and they can also use technology. So we know what kind of things we can include and what they would infer when we use it. Also, we also put user satisfaction as a priority because this is the most important part. We're making their lives easier, and in also in a way making our own lives easier. The structure depends on the type of products and the offers companies have. So now when you're creating your app, you wouldn't want to do something different by putting probably the you probably put the order page first instead of the home page. There's a reason why there's a home page, because every app you probably come across would have a home page where the user probably sees like an overview of what the app has. The home page is basically a summary of all the other pages on the screen, so that on the app rather, so that they can decide what features they probably want to use on the app. So you're based on the computer analysis, you've probably gone used the Domino's app and the Dodo Pizza app. We've come to see that there are some particular features and particular things that are the same in these two apps. The users like these particular positions and they will most likely find it if you put it there. So those are easy ways to arrange your data. So one example, a retail website and a blog have two different structures, and because they are trying to accomplish two different things. A retail website is trying to get people to buy stuff from them. A blog is trying to just let people read articles. So obviously they will have different approaches and two different structures when they're trying to work with the app. Information architecture is very important in designing. It makes your life easier. You don't just go to start wireframing or start designing without any idea of how your app or how your app is going to play out, how what features it's going to have. So information architecture in design, basically what does it do? It forms the skeleton of your design project. So I'll be going back to the user flow here, which is basically what an information architecture app flow would look like. Because we don't have that here, when I update the slides, I'll be sending those to you so you can see how it looks like. So basically, these are different pages on your app, and they're all condensed a into different boxes and different shapes to make sure that you get your desired goal. So your information architecture forms the skeleton of your design project. And as you said before, the whole point of doing this is to make sure that your user is satisfied with what they're getting from your product. So that is the reason why we go through the stress of organizing the data. This also helps you as a designer to make sure that all your elements, everything you've organized, it will follow a proper flow, and you make sure that your um your visual elements, your functionality, your interactions are all built according to what the user would want, and basically according to general information architecture principles. Even if your app looks great and people love the colors and people love the way it looks, if it doesn't give them the desired effect, then they will most likely not want to continue using the app. If we have unorganized content, it makes navigation very difficult. People will probably be angry that, okay, I cannot use your app. It's very difficult for me to use, and they give up. We've all probably gone through a website where it is very difficult for us to access a particular or to complete a particular task. It might be something simple like buying a dress or something, and because of the way the app is organized or the website is organized, it will be very difficult for us to achieve our desired goal. Most times, most people will give up on using the app, or they just um they never just want to go back to using that app. As a designer, your goal is to please the user, to make sure they have a great experience, and also make sure that the product they are creating also has a very good experience, also has very good features. By doing this, both the user and the product owners are going to be happy because you've created a product that works both ways and satisfies both the user and the owner. It is not a great idea to ignore the fact that information architecture is very important. Information architecture will guarantee a high quality product because you would have less usability and navigation problems. You already know this is the way my user should probably use my app, and that's practically the way they're going to go when they this is probably the way they're going to go about navigating through the app. This would save both the time and energy you would use to fix and improve your site because you've already seen possible problems with the flow when you're creating your when you're creating your information architecture. You would know what you need to remove and what should remain. Now, how does information architecture relate with user research, with user experience design? But you probably wonder, since information architecture also takes care of the users and also takes care of the company, what's the point in doing user design? Why don't they just go ahead with information architecture from the start? Now they relate to each other, but information architecture is basically the design structure of your app. This will be generated into wireframes and sitemaps of the project. Now, I'll probably let me try to stop sharing my screen. I'll probably show you examples of what I'm talking about so we can see that. So, I would find a particular example that explains um the blueprints of design structure so that you can see how this structure is now generated into wireframes and sitemaps. So UX designers use this as a way to plan out their navigation system. It's probably how do I put it? It's the easiest way to work on a project without stressing and creating and designing and then coming back to the drawing board all over again. So there's also one thing that I didn't mention, which is the difference between the information architecture and the user flow. Now, user flow is basically how the user experiences your app, what they do first when they come to your app. But your information architecture covers the entirety of the app, everything that the app contains, all the different buttons, the different tabs, all of that. That is what information architecture does. So now we know that it's a blueprint of the design structure, and we know that we can use this to generate wireframes. We now know the way to go about it. So UX design is more than structuring content. We have to make a pleasant interaction model so that the user feels comfortable using the product, and then they can encompass different aspects like the user's behaviors and their actions when they're trying to create um the app. They also focus on the emotions and psychology, while the information architecture experts focus on user goals, how to solve or how to create an app that solves the problem that the user already has. Good information structure, good information architecture, sorry, is a foundation of efficient user experience. So as a designer, this is something you must know. You must know how to organize your data, how to organize and structure your content for your data. It is a very important tool that you use. Effective information architecture makes the product easy to use and also makes sure that it also works with your design thinking experience. Now, information architecture has different components. We have the organization systems, the labeling systems, the navigation systems, and the searching
Sorry,
systems.
for me.
Yes? Can you hear
Like, are
me?
you? Yeah, we can hear you, but are you showing anything? Are you presenting anything? Or is it just that I can't see it?
No, I stopped sharing my screen.
Okay, that's fine. Carry on.
Okay. So so that everybody can follow with this, I think I should share the article on user experience so that we can all see on sorry on information architecture, so we can all see like how it looks like. Then when I update the slides, I'll add the info app of the information architecture for the particular app that we're going to be working on. Just give me a minute to open it up here so that I can share it. Okay, I can't do that now. So I'll just continue with this. And then once I update the slides, I'll make sure that all these things are included there. So as I mentioned, information architecture has three different components: the organization systems, labeling systems, navigation systems, and searching systems. Four actually. So the organization systems are organized into they have three main structures. They're either hierarchical, or they're sequential, or they follow a matrix pattern. So I would want to let me see if I can let me copy this link and try to send it so that you can access it. So now I'm going with the hierarchical. So from the first class that John taught is based on a psychological theory, and its main goal is to present content on the carrier. It can be a book page, it can be a poster, a web page, or a mobile screen, but it has to be in a way that the users understand the importance of each element. It helps the user to distinguish objects based on based on their physical differences. such as size, color, contrast, or alignment. So I'll be opening up the what they call it, the article that shows the different examples so that we can all view it on here. Mm, okay. Sorry, can you guys see my screen now?
No. Okay. Yeah, I think
No.
it's coming up. Maybe it's just me. I can see your screen now.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
first off, we're talking about hierarchical, and so I want to show you this website basically. So on this web page, we can see that hierarchical talks about distinguishing objects based on their physical differences, such as size, color, contrast, or alignment. Now we know that probably the name of this website is Stockholm, and we can see that it is bright and sorry, it's the size is large, so that you can differentiate from the rest of the features on the app. Now, for the buttons that you probably see on the app, we can see the probably the go down button or to see more button, which is this pink button here with the arrow. And then we can see the read more, but read more is also underlined with the color. This distinguishes, if all the text on this page were just white, then there won't be any distinguishing feature on this page. But this helps to see the difference with the size, the color, and the contrast. So they use the brighter color to make sure that people would be able to notice it once they look at this particular web page. So that is one thing to do. Then we have the sequential. Sequential creates a path for the users. It's a step by step to accomplish what they need. This is used for retail websites or apps, so where people have to go from one task to another to make a purchase. So, for example, now this is from Vinny's Bakery website. This is their homepage where they talk about bread, and then you can see them showing you the different breads that you probably have. Then you select the particular one you have, you select particular bread you want, probably add it to your cart. So this has just shown you the entire user flow from when you get on the website. What do? You choose your bread loaf, and you choose the particular one you want, and then you can add to your cart if you wanted to. So this just shows a step by step to accomplish your task. For the one that we'll be creating, it will be something like this. It will be a step by step path for the users to accomplish the task that they need. And then they have the matrix form. It's complicated for the users since they choose the way of navigation on their own. They are giving choices of content organization, and they can navigate through the content which is ordered according to dates or navigation along the topic. It depends. So this is a money wise app. We have the Explorer, we have Pay, we have Monopoly, we have Conquest. So this app has different what do you call it? It has a different way that it works based on the what the user wants. Um, this is this is as you can see here on the top, it says beginner level. So obviously there's probably like has in tones of a game, but it also works like as a way to inform people about how to use their money. So there are articles embedded in the app. There are options to play. There's also advanced courses and probably like a leaderboard for the users. But the user decides how he accesses the information. This might be more complicated, and it's not a preferred solution, a prepared way to organize data because it's just compounds or it doesn't give a specific user flow. So most people will be confused if they do not understand how the app works. Now we go to the organization schemes for like this for the matrix. It can be in different um, forms. You can use alphabetical schemes and organize them in alphabetical order. So probably if you're going to search for songs on your phone and you use a particular app, they can either use things like the name of the artist or the name of the song in alphabetical order. You know what the name of the artist is, and you know what the name of the song is. You can either use those to find the particular song you want to listen to at a particular time. Then there are chronological schemes. This one organizes your content by date. So now, for example, also using music app as an example, the song you probably listened to recently will probably be at the top of your list, and the song that you've not listened to in a while will probably be at the bottom of your list. So the date is now an important factor when you're organizing your data. Now your topic schemes, the content will be organized according to a specific subject. If you use YouTube before, we know that there are different playlists. So you can decide to organize your data that way. So you have a particular playlist, not exactly a playlist now, but you organize your content according to a specific topic. And so people know that when I click on this particular topic, I'm going to find these topic this um subjects here. So that helps to organize your data too. And then you can use audience schemes too. The type of this is type of content organization for separate group of users. For example, Netflix. When you have Netflix for kids and Netflix for adults, they obviously have different themes. Netflix for children obviously has cartoons, animations, and all of that. But the one for the adults have a different group. So you organize your content according to the separate group of users that you have, and then you try to make sure that every group you have are catered for. Then now the next um thing we're talking about is the labeling systems. How do we represent data? So the design of the products requires simplicity so that we have information and we do not confuse our users. So we create labels to represent data in few words so that people can find what they're looking for. For example, when you're going to a website and you're looking for contact information, we know what's the first thing that people will probably check for. Okay, I want to put in my name, I want to put in my phone number, the email, and social media contacts. Now, the designer will not be able to put all these things on that particular page. So he cannot put a button called contact in the header of the page or even on the bottom of on the footer. And all you have to do is just click on that button and then you find all the data you need to find about contact. That makes it very easy for you to um find what you're looking for. So now, for example, labeling system as we're talking about, we are looking at this particular app. I can't pause this, but when they're graded in a particular way so that all of them are grouped into their different categories. Now the first thing you see on that page, if you're looking at the footer, is the about. Okay, so the home page is the first thing you see, which is the first thing basically what you see when you get on the page. Then the next thing is your about page. The next thing is your trainers. The next is the prices, and then the contacts. So on the about page, basically introducing what the website is all about. On the home page, rather, it introduces what the website is all about. The about page just talks about, they probably have links to articles and stuff like that regarding working out and training. Now the third page is your trainers. You see the different trainers that you have. Okay, well, how do I choose my trainer? That works too. And then we have the page for the prices. We can see how they're organized from here, if it's just one person or there are two people or there are three, how would this work? Let me try opening this page if we can view. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um so basically it just explains more about, you can see the trainers, you can see the prices for the app, and you can see the contact information. Let me go back. I hope you can see my screen now. So the third thing we'll be talking about regarding information architecture is the navigation systems. Now, navigation systems is a set of actions and techniques that guide users through the app or website, enabling them to fulfill their goals and successfully interact with the product. Navigation systems just basically talks about how the users move through the content. This is very similar to the user flow, to see how the user would approach your product and how they'll use it. So it has different techniques and approaches, but it is basically it's basically going to be explained with a simple chart. It's not something you can really explain in a paragraph. So that's the reason why this doesn't really have like much information here. For example, the navigation systems again on this website we just viewed, or let me go to this one that is stationary so you can view it from here. On this website, you can see that there's the for this website, Stockholm is supposed to be a an app for you to find a connection in a city. So basically, the app is basically just supposed to be like a travel guide for you. I mean, website supposed to be a travel guide. So now you have the what they call it, the cities that are available. You have the blogs, you have travel maps, and then you have the sign in and sign up, and you also have the search button. Those are the simple navigation tools that you can have on your website. And because they're organized in this manner, you know that okay, if I click on blog, obviously the only things I'm going to find are articles. If I click on travel maps, the only thing I'm going to find are travel maps. If I click on cities, I'm going to find particular cities where I can probably find a guide to. So that helps to make your life easier and help the users too to achieve their goals faster. With the example of this app too, that I can't pause at this particular point. We know that there's the home page, we know the about page, we see the trainers page, we've seen their prices, and we see how to contact them too. All these things are involved in your navigations. They also take care of minor details for the users. For example, trying to order a book or order a ride, we know that you're going to log into your account or just open your account. Then the next thing you're going to do is put in your destination, which is also an important step. From putting in your destination, you then wait for a ride, and then your ride comes, and then you start taking your trip. Now along the way something may happen, which is also accounted for by the app, so that you can also decide to reroute your ride and change your destination to a different place. So it's not just rigid, it is very flexible so the user can continue to navigate through the app. So different features would help to make this very possible when you're creating your own app. And now the last thing we'll be talking about are the searching systems. Searching systems are you to help the user search for the data within a product, which is very important. And an example is the search button you have on your app. So this can be either the search or the filter. If you've probably used an online website for courses and stuff like that, you'll probably see the filters. Probably you want to learn something relating to art or finance. or design, there are filters that enable you to fine tune or to search for this particular kind of courses by just clicking on a particular tab. It can be a drop down menu or it can be a search box, but using that you can find the particular thing you're looking for. So search systems always help with products that have lots of information, and the users might probably get lost if they go through all that information. So the search system helps the search systems can either be a search engine, a filter, or other tools that can help plan how user will look after the search. A very good example is YouTube. If YouTube did not have what they organized content, it will be very difficult for you to find a particular video to watch. If there wasn't any search button, you'll probably be going through it and just searching for a long time and you will not be able to achieve your goals. But now we already have the playlist option. As we said before, we have the search box to probably sort out. We have the sort by alphabetical order. We have also the sort by date. We can sort videos out like that too. Those are different ways we use information architecture to make life easier for the user and also for the business owners as a whole. So that's basically what information architecture is all about. So information architecture is a vital part of user experience, and it is very wide and has a lot that we can learn from it. So as something to take away from all of this is that if we have very good information architecture, our users will quickly and easily navigate through content and find everything they need without having any problems, which is our goal for our app. So we're supposed to help them so that they can achieve their goals in the shortest time possible, which is basically what we're designing for. We're designing for the users. That's why we are called UI UX designers. We design for the best experience they can possibly have. So as I said before, the slides for information architecture are not complete yet. When I create these slides, when I add the other information to that part of the slide, I'm going to include the information architecture for the proposed pizza app that we're going to be working on. So based on this, you can use that to create your own information architecture for the app that you're going to be designing for. I'm also going to send articles and other reading materials that relates to the different facets that we've talked about, from the user flows, the user journeys, and all that we talked about it today. So when I do that, probably tomorrow, I'll be sending the slides to so that we can see how best this works. But just as an idea, this is how your information architecture would probably look like. It can look like this. It can also look like actual screens of a mobile phone, or it will just look like a regular site map. Basically, just explain describing all the features that you probably have on an app. So for us to just see to us do something small to see how the pizza app is going to look like or what to expect from the information architecture. I'm going to point out key differences between this user flow and the information architecture I'm going to be creating for the pizza app. So first off, when we go through the onboarding, which is basically the first screens that you see on your phone when you open the app, and you go to the login and sign up page, those are pages that you obviously have. Then first thing you get to is the home screen. Now from the home screen, your information architecture is different because your user flow just basically shows you the process of going from going to fulfill or going to, how do I put it, going to fulfill a particular user goal, which in this case is buying a pizza. But your information architecture is going to encompass everything in your app. So right about here at the home screen, it's going to be separated into different factions. For example, your menu, your profile, your contacts, and your carts or your baskets, whichever one it is. Now on your menu page, you probably have the search button, you have your menu screens, and all the different parts that you're going to have. As I said before, your home screen is basically a compressed or a summary of your app. So it should not be too it should not be filled with too many things, but at the same time it should show what your app is all about. So on your main screen there, probably you have the opportunity to put in your delivery address or something like that. Or you can decide to probably get your food at a particular your pizza, instead of delivering it to yourself, you can decide to pick up at the restaurant. Your home screen can have those features. Your home screen also has your menu, basically all the things that you possibly want to order are right, they are right there. It also has the search button, which I've also mentioned for information architecture, is a very important feature so that your users can find what they're looking for quickly. So now the second thing your home screen probably have is your um profile. A profile will include the information about your user, probably their order history, all the things they've probably ordered in the past, and you'd know they can find it there and try to reorder the same things again. They probably have their delivery addresses where they can add probably more than one delivery address and change locations if they have to. So that's basically what your your profile page will probably have. You also have it also have things like the phone number or the email of the person that is you probably have their phone number or their email too if they for the particular app. Now the next thing will be the baskets. Your basket is basically your cart where you when you've decided, okay, I want to get this, you now go to your cart and probably increase or reduce the amount of or the quantity of things you want to order, and then you can see other things that are probably suggested that you could add to your order. And if you have a promo code too, you could apply it there, and then you proceed to check out. Now when you check out, this is where you would have your card details and all of that. So when you finish paying online, then you would have your track order page. And once you start tracking your order, it's going to follow you sequentially until you finally get your food and confirm that your order has been gotten. So the choose pizza stage in the user flow will most likely be in the menu, probably be in the menu list, which is going to be part of the one of the buttons on your home screen. Then your adjust ingredients will probably be after that. Once you choose your pizza, you can adjust your ingredients. That's another thing that's going to be in your on your menu page for your home screen. Now we know that the add to baskets is another feature that we have, and your basket is basically your cart where you can decide to check out or not, or manipulate the quantities of your orders, and then after you pay you can then track your order and receive the food. Now this doesn't really explain the information architecture, but once I'm done with the site map for the pizza app, I would add it to the slides. So when you look at it, you can see the key differences, like I've mentioned, from the user flow and what the information architecture should contain. As I said before, I'll drop links to the articles and the books, articles and videos you could possibly watch that would explain more about information architecture and user experience synthesis. So if there are any questions, I would like it if everybody could like probably type it in the chat box, or I don't know if you can unmute your mics to speak. and then we can answer whatever questions that you have.
Okay, I think Nima's hand is up. Nima, can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. Sorry, please, about the assignments that you gave us, are there specific questions for the interview or just ask anything goes? Or and the
I think
second
we'll answer. Okay, I'm hearing you.
okay, and second question is I feel okay, don't worry about that. I think we'll get to that later.
Okay, I think can I save a question to after we ask questions for this class? So once we finish, I'll do those ones after. Is that for you, Nima?
I didn't get that.
Like, can we do questions for that are related to this class first before I answer that one? Is that fine with you?
Okay, yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, can lower your hand. Okay, for Franklin, can I ask your question? Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you. Carry on.
My question is signing the proposed app features. Like for example, now if you take for instance the Jumia app. Jumia app has a feature like, for example, pay on delivery. Yeah, she was only stating on online payment. She did not say anything concerning like pay on delivery because this is a pizza, I mean, how would I call it? Yeah, this is a pizza app. So a app whereby some people they are very, very rigid. They have to see what they are ordering first before they can pay. So she did not state anything like if there is a column that you either select online payment or pay on delivery, stuff like that, sure.
Okay, I get your question. As I said before, what we have are the sorry, can you mute your mic? I think it's echoing. Okay. As I said before, what we had at that particular point were the proposed features based on the survey we had done. Now that does not mean that other features are not going to come into play when you're considering it. Now, for the fact that possibly people I sent out the survey to did not ask any questions about possibly paying on delivery and all of that. That doesn't mean that as a designer I shouldn't think about those options. As I said before, your what you have there are the proposed app features. They're not set in stone. They are always liable to change based on what you feel like your user might need at a particular time. But based on the survey and the people that based on the people that filled out the survey and people that were addressed to at that particular point, they all focused on online payments and not payment on delivery. As you said, some users are rigid and they want to see what they're ordering first or pay on delivery in case there are any problems or anything of the sort or a failed delivery occurs, which is also a very good feature to include when we're designing the app. Now, these are some of the things that information architecture would help you take care of for you because you've already arranged or organized all the content of the app, and then you can see probable decisions. Paying online will be a decision. Do I want to pay online or do I not want to pay online? What are the probable options I could have? Would the person come to my house with a POS when he comes to deliver my pizza and then I pay with my card? Or would I pay in cash when I get it to my house? There are different options. So all these things are going to be answered once you're done with your information architecture before you actually start designing your app. Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma, you've done.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I think there's a question from Femi. Femi, can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Okay, please lower your hand.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Yeah,
please?
can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. She was talking about or she just mentioned wireframe the other time, talking about the information architecture and all like that. And she was showing us, she showed us user flow in which we can relate to information architecture. Can we just say that? Can we relate wireframe to information architecture? And if we can Can she just tell us more about how to build our wireframes? Thank you.
Okay, as I said before, I mentioned the fact that your user flow is not it's just basically finding out what your user wants to get from the app. You're basically seeing all the things that they possibly want from your app. Now your information architecture is focused on everything your app is about, the features, everything you've designed. So it's not just the user that's focused on this time, but it's focused on everything. Now you mentioned building wireframes. As I said before, information architecture helps you when you're building your wireframes and your site maps because you already see the proposed pages and screens and number of screens that you're going to design for. Based on your information architecture, you know what the next step is. What am I designing next? And it also makes your designing life easier. Now, I will not be explaining how information architecture would help you build wireframes because once I create the information architecture for the particular pizza app, for this pizza app that we're going to be working on, the next class will be talking about wireframing and all of that. So based on the information architecture and the map I've created, the next tutor will create and would work on the wireframes, and then you can see how you transfer how your information architecture is basically what your app is all about, how you move from there to your wireframes, and then you can see how the entire designing process will go. So yes, that's basically it. Did I answer your question? Are there any other things? Is there anything I missed?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Malaysia, I
Okay,
think
there's a question from Malaysia. Yeah, okay, yeah, great. Ask she could ask question. You can unmute, please. Malaysia, can you hear us, Malaysia? I don't know if you can hear us. Your hand is up for a question. Could you ask a question, please? Okay, I'm guessing you don't have a question anymore. Or maybe you can't hear us. You're muted if you don't know as well. Then if there are any questions for Fumi before we move on, because it was a very information filled class, so you might need to clarify some concepts if you guys have any concepts you want clarified. It's a lot to cover in one day, and I want to if you guys really got it because there'll be another assessment on this class, so there'll be no point in giving that if you don't understand what she has taught you so far. So I didn't know questions from anybody before we move on. Abigail, ask a question, please, Abigail.
Good evening.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
good evening, carry on.
Okay, so you talked about user journey maps and how it's, I think, about the user from when they start using your app to like the end. So I wanted to ask the user journey map, are we going to like ask the customers after using the app, like their whole process, or it is something that we just assume about our users? Does it happen like at the beginning of is it at the beginning of the design process, or it happens at the end after the product has already launched and has been used? Then we go back and ask the users, okay, how did you hear about the product? To like, are you going to come back and reuse our products, or can you please just clarify what the user journey maps are about? Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
So basically, the user journey map is supposed to be a visualization of the basically what we think the user, how we think the user is going to interact with with our product. It's based on the user journey map that we know the different facets or different things we're going to be creating for. as we said before, it's going to be a touch point between the user and the product, and then it has a timeline that interacts to show the different channels with which a user interacts with the product. As I said before, there are 5 things to consider: the awareness stage, the consideration, acquisition, and the service and the loyalty. Now, this chart is basically just for the pizza delivery app. So when you're creating, you can use the same format to create yours. Now, the awareness stage is how do we've already seen that they've people know about this app. Well, how did they find out about the app? Which is basically what awareness talks about. Consideration is the point at which the user decides to go through with using your app. So what do you assume the user is going through at that particular point? But user probably checked other apps and probably saw that your app was a better option. So they decided to go with your app. Now acquisition is where they are actually using the product that you have created. So as you said before, it is and these are based on assumptions, based on what we've heard from what we've seen from the user interview from the user surveys and everything. But this stage comes before we decide on how the user flows and the information architecture of the app is going to go. So we're going to the acquisition stage. Basically, the user gets something from us, but the user is now in business with or using the product, and either choosing for this one, is either choosing a pizza, customizing the order, or tracking the order, or whatnot. Now, the service stage is what we now give to the user. We're going to deliver their food. They are going to receive their order, which is basically what the service stage is. Now, loyalty. How do we make sure that the user comes back to use our app? So all these are probable. All this is still just a visual representation. It's not set in stone. It can change over time, but it is based on this that we know the different stages the user goes through, and based on this we can decide to fine tune or change something in our product to make sure that your customers want to use your product. Now, from the awareness stage, if your customer did not hear something good about your app, or your app is not attractive enough, that's probably not going to be a reason why. But your app is not attractive enough, and so your user cannot use the app, or it does not have good reviews of the app, which is a better an accurate description, they would most likely not continue with your app. If they compare your app with other apps and they see that yours is just basically like the rest, they'll probably want to stick with where they are. So those are the crucial points that you differentiate yourself from other brands to make sure that your user would want to use your app over the others. Creating a user journey map will help you put yourself in the user's shoes so you can see how best to cater for their needs. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okafor Franklin, you still have a question? You can unmute.
Disturbing. My question is also on rating.
Hear you. I
Case
can
of
barely hear
rating.
you. Can you?
I said my question now is on the case of rating. Rating, like for example, when you download most apps from app stores and Play Store, like after using it for some while, after the first use of the app, you see something just pop up like rate this app 5 stars. So that kind of scenario now, where does that fall under? Is it under the service or under loyalty?
Sorry. That would fall under loyalty. So if your customer has your service is basically you giving something. Sorry, can you mute your mic? I think it's interfering. So basically, your service is you giving your user something. Your what do you call it? How do I put it? Your service is you offering something to your user. In this case, you're sending their order to them for them to receive it. Loyalty is what makes them come back. If your user gives you a 1 star, there's a high chance that they'll probably not use the product again. If they give you a 5 star, they will probably come back. So yes, loyalty, your ratings are included in your loyalty. That's probably after the user has accomplished your goal of using your app. Then you probably have that option it can be you can set it to be just after they're done with what the task that they're done with, or it can be just when they open the app next time. You can always rate to see to rate the app. That also helps too. So when your ratings will help, it would either show you the way your customers feel about that app at a particular time, and you can probably pinpoint what is wrong and how to fix that. So ratings are under loyalty. That's when they decide, okay, I'm going to come back and use this app all over again. So that is basically it. Have I ever answered your question? Is there anything I'm missing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. If there are any other questions, please you can type them, or you can
Yeah, you can put them on
unmute
Slack
your mic.
because I think we're already past our time.
Okay.
Are we? Right. Yeah. So before we go, I think there's a question from Nima Femi at the beginning of this class. I think I already answered Femi's question. But before I even do that, I want to just thank Fumi for a very, very nice class. I think I have learned what she has taught. I don't think it was. I think it was to cover in 2 hours, and she did it very, very well. So I really appreciate that because it was a very, very. I was here for the entire time. It was really a good class. So nice one for me. I would say So yeah. After that, I think I'm going to ask Nima for a question. I think I already answered Femi's question. So can we take your question again, Nima? Can you ask it again? And anybody else that asked question at the beginning of the class, I forgot to answer them. I told you I couldn't answer because of time. You can ask it now. So Nima, is Nima here, or I'll just take Femi's on first. Nima, are you here? Before I answer Femi's on.
Yes.
Okay, Nima, what's the
Yes.
question
Okay.
again?
I think the assessment for the previous week. Are there specific questions we need to ask in the interview, or we just ask anything?